So let me teach you how to make a straight skirt. This is a straight skirt. I already marked it out, but in case you know, I folded it into four. So I folded this. I folded it this way. I folded it this way. Then place this one on it like this. Alright, so let me confirm this. If it's up to half inch. Okay, half inch to the end. So now here is our waist. From the waist, the distance from the waist to the hip is usually 8.5 for almost everybody. But if this person is as tall as 6 feet, you can use 10 or 9. Then from the waist to your knee is usually 20. But if the person is tall like 6 feet, you can come up a bit by 19, so that the person will be able to walk. So I took the length of the skirt. For me, the length of my skirt is 43. The length of my skirt is 43. So I took the length 43. Then my waistline, yes, my waistline, my hip line, my knee line. So I took my waist measurement and I divided it by 4. I took my hip measurement, divided it by 4. Then this hip measurement, when you divide this hip measurement by 4, you take it here. Then when you get here, you remove, you know, this hip measurement. When you divide it by 4, you have to add 2 inches sewing allowance, the same thing as the waist. So when you get to the hip, you take the hip measurement, divide it by 4, and add 2 inches sewing allowance. So when you get to here, this hip measurement, the sewing allowance, you have to remove it. So if my hip is 12 inches, if I have divided it by 4 and I got that 12 inches and I add 2 inches sewing allowance, it means that when I get to the knee, I have to remove the 2-inch sewing allowance and put only 12 here, which is my hip measurement. I put only 12 here. So is this 12? I'm going to take down to my length, to the length of my skirt. So now, so this one, and I'm actually cutting the front and the back. So this is the zipper allowance, the zip allowance. So the zip allowance, I gave space of 2 inches. Then I marked it out here. Then I marked it out 2 inches to the hip, to the knee line. Then from this knee line, I have to take ½ inch down so that the person will be able to walk well. Do you understand? I hope I've been able to explain myself better. So now we are going to cut it, so you know, see how I'm going to cut it. With my scissors. Watch how I'm going to cut it, okay? Alright. This is how we are going to cut. Cut it this way. Nepa. I hope you're seeing how I'm cutting it. Alright. Then we come here and cut the zipper part. This is the back piece of the skirt. When you get here, we enter this way. To the ½ inch. Then we take it down. Alright? Very easy. Easy peasy. So this is our skirt. This is the front piece and is the back piece. Okay, this is the front piece and this is the back piece. You see that? So now I'm going to cut the lining for the back piece and the front piece. Let's go. So now we are cutting the lining for the back, and we have to pin it down so that when we are cutting it, it won't be moving. All right, let's cut. All right. So now we are going to join the lining to the front piece. Let me remove it. Removing the pins. Right. So we are opening it now. This is how it's going to look like. This is how the front piece is going to look like. It's going to look like. So here is the back side of the material. Here is the front side of the material. So you are going to place the lining on the front part of the material like this. Like this. So here is the waist now. So I'm going to stitch to here, stitch down. I'm going to stitch all around from the waist down to the length down, all around. So I've aligned the lining with the material. Note that the lining, we are going to place the lining on the front part of the material, meaning that the front part of the material is inside. So we are going to be using 1/2 inch to join it together. So I'm done joining the lining to the front pattern. So while joining the lining to the front pattern, we are going to leave a little space that we use to turn the inside out. Okay, so here is the space I kept to turn the inside out. Here is how you are going to turn it out. All right. So here's the upper part. There is a waist. So this is how it's going to look like. You see? This is how it's going to look like. This is the space I kept using turning it out. Alright, so now let's join the back part of the skirt to the lining. So we are going to be having two pieces of the back pattern and two lining. So these are the two pieces and two lining. So we are going to place one of the lining to one of the piece, just like we did the front pattern. You place it, you check the cloth, you check the Ankara and see that here is the outer parts of the material and here is the inside part of the material. So you place the lining on the front parts of the material, so the front must be facing the front, you understand, like this. So we are going to sew the same way we sew the front pattern and also leave space that we are going to use to turn it inside out. All right, let's go. So I have finished joining the lining to the back piece of my skirt. So now so I'll be having two pieces of my the back pieces of my skirt. So two pieces for the back piece of my skirt. So I'm going to join it together. Join it together. Then I'm only going to sew from these 2-inch allowance I left for the zipper part. So I'm going to sew from here to the waist, then I'll be back. So what I did was I sew from this 2-inch allowance I kept for the zipper part. I sew from this beginning to the waist, Then after that, I measure from the waist down by 10 inches. That's where my zip is going to stop. Then I stitch from here to that 10 inches and give it a knot so that it will not lose. Then I fixed my zip. Here's my zip, well fixed. And make sure that you always iron as you go, so that we are going to end up with a very neat finishing. So this is the back piece. Let me cut the remaining zip. You leave some inches away, then you cut the zip off. So after that, we are going to join the front piece and the back piece together. Let's get the front piece first, the back piece first. So this is the back piece. The back piece, and this is the front piece. We're going to place it like this, right side facing each other. And make sure it's on the same length. The same. All right. So now I've placed the back pattern on the front pattern. We are going to now take our exact measurements to shape the skirt to our size. So we are going to start from, we are going to put the tape at the middle of the zip. Then my waist is 36, so 36 divided by 4, that will be 9. So I'm going to take 9 here, 9 here. Then from my waist to my hip is, the length from my waist to my hip is 8.5. So I'm going to mark 8.5 here. 8.5 here. Then I take my measurement for the waist. For the waist, my waist is 9. My hip is 48. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So I'm going to take 12 here. On this hip line, I'm marking 12 here. Then this end of the zipper allowance, this is where you're going to take your knee measurement. So if the hip, since the hip is 12 inches, I'm going to remove 2 from this 12, so it's going to give me 10. So I'm going to mark 10 here, 10 here. So I'm going to take the 10 down. I'm going to be marking 10 to the end. 10. 10. 10. So let me So we're going to do the same thing on the other side of the skirt. We take our 9 inches. We take the length from the waist to our hip, 8.5. We mark 8.5 here. Then we take our hip measurement. My hip measurement is 12. So we take 12 here again. So 12 times 4, 12 times 4 is going to give us 48. The same thing we did there. That 12 minus 2 inches is going to give us 10 for the knee. So we mark 10 here. We do the same thing. We are going to take the 10 down to the length of the skirt. Then down to the length of the skirt. 10. Alright, now we are going to join it together.